Hey guys, I just got back from the story and why you see with the title there is came from the question, is Pilates good? And I'm like, well, or what do you think of Pilates? That's what I just got my teeth cleaned, and my the dental hygienist asked me this question, and I said, well, is it for you? And she said, yeah, for me. And I said, well, what are you trying to get out of it? And she said, well, because of my job and because I want a strong core. And she went through the list of, the normal list of things that you would want to do exercise for. And I was like, okay, well, that's great. It just kind of depends on the person. Everybody's an individual. So my question to her, it basically boiled down to me asking her the question, would you clean every single buddy's teeth the exact same way? And she was like, no, I'd never do that. And it's like, yeah, of course you wouldn't, because you'd screw up maybe 10% or 20 or 30% of the people. Probably really bad. You'd probably really mess it up. And so then it came back to, so it's the same thing with exercise. It's that individual component. It's like every single person has a little bit of tailoring to it. There might be some similarities, but there's going to be differences too. And so so that's what it came down to. And then I started thinking about, like, would you ever take it to a mechanic that would do the exact same thing? Like if you took a full ton truck and you took it to a mechanic and the mechanic treated it like it was a Dodge Neon. I don't even know if they still make Dodge Neons, but a little tiny car. You wouldn't get the same service. Or if a surgeon was just decided, oh, I'm only going to do knee surgeries, even if the person came in for a shoulder. It's like, well, now we've got a problem. It's that individualization. I realize that I'm kind of overstating it, but the point of this is that you have to individualize everything to every single person. And the funny thing is that the gym, you would never think that a surgeon couldn't get away with this, a therapist couldn't get away with this, a mechanic couldn't get away with this, a doctor couldn't get away, nobody could get away with this. But for some reason, gyms, like, why can gyms for some reason get away with this? Why don't we sit back and go, man, that is ridiculous that not everything is tailored to each person. They do the same, you look at a kickboxing class, they do the same number of punches, the same number of kicks, the same number of sit-ups, the same number of push-ups across every single person, not taking into account training age, experience, like actual physical fitness. Should they even be throwing a punch? What level of deconditioned are they? All these different things that we would go over in an assessment at Grit Gym. Figure out, like if you're applying chin-ups to every single person, some people should not be doing chin-ups. Some people do not have the overhead shoulder flexion. They do not have the rotator cuff strength, and they do not have the core control to actually not slip into, and they can't control the angle of the tilt of their shoulder blade too. So there's all kinds of different things on why you would individualize to each person, and I think that it just makes sense once you think about it, but we don't hold gyms to this same standard, and I think it's kind of crazy to think that we don't do that. But because, like, if anybody can answer my question, I really love that. Why do gyms get away with this and nobody else would ever get away with it? So I thought that was kind of an interesting thing. I wanted to hop on here and just do a video on it quick. But if you had a surgeon that was doing the exact same service in the exact same way on every single person, every single time, you would never, ever, no one would ever stand for that. The same thing with a mechanic, the same thing with a teacher or a therapist or a physical therapist or any kind of person that doesn't tailor it a little bit to that person. There might be some similarities, but there's always going to be some individual factors involved. So I think if you're going to look for a gym, if you're out there and you're looking for a gym, make sure that you do not just sit back and go, oh, that's what I should do, because everybody is doing the same thing. If everybody is doing the same thing in that space, you should probably think about walking away. Think about what you hold think about the level of excellence that you hold your gym to, because that thing is not, it is not necessarily safe in the wrong hands. But anyway, we'd never hold a therapist or a surgeon or a mechanic we would never accept that they would do the same thing with every single person, just like you shouldn't accept it from a gym.